The Gator game is a very underrated speedrun. Yes, a cozy open world adventure game where you can't die and have to make friends doesn't sound like an enticing speedrun, but trust me, it is. Your movement has to be immaculate, your routing has to be the best, and you have to use everything you can to save precious seconds over your best time. This is how speedrunners broke the Gator game. Before we get to the speedruns, let's talk about the game itself. To beat the game, you have to make at least 35 friends. There are a lot of friends in the game. For some of them you have to do a side quest, and for some of them you have to talk to them or buy something from them. You also have to complete all 3 of the main quests. In every main quest, there are 3 characters that you have to do a side quest for. When you have at least 35 friends, and you have completed the 3 main quests, you can make it down and go into the ending flashback, where after a bit of movement, a cutscene plays, and the time ends shortly after, when the credits roll. Basically all of the friends and main quests are on the big island, but the game starts you off on the small island, where you have to do a side quest for 3 friends, and then you unlock the big island. On the day after the game was released, it already saw some speedruns. These early runs were of course not great. They basically always walked instead of shield sliding, and they didn't have routes, so they just winged it. The first recorded run was a 32:58 by Shovelclaws. It lost minutes to mistakes, and just a few hours later Mouse got a 28:06. There's no video of the run, so I don't know how it went. But it doesn't matter, because this is what happened in the next 10 hours. At the end of the day, the record was a 21:00 by Shovelclaws. The run was way cleaner overall, and had an actual route, although it wasn't very good.
Oh, 21 flat, dude. Oh my god, so fucking close to the sub 21. Ah, I want to retime that. I'm not convinced.
Glint and Bytes completely rerouted the game the next day. Glint set in 1943 with it. The new route really carried it, and Bytes knew he could get something better. After a few runs, he got a 17:53, cleaning up mistakes to beat Glint's run by almost 2 minutes. The new route saved minutes over the old route. In the small island, you normally buy stamina bracelets so you can climb to Avery, but the new route skipped buying the stamina bracelet entirely, and exploited a failsafe that gives it to you after you complete the small island. Not being able to climb in the small island is a bit tricky though, because you have to do shield flips to get over the mountain. I'm not gonna go over every change in the routes, but they replaced some slow friends for faster friends, and the route was way better overall. In a few days, Bytes lowered the record all the way down to a 16:24, where he switched up Ava with Esther, which seemed a bit faster because for Ava you have to do a whole side quest, and for Esther you only have to talk to her. The next day he got a 16:05, where he changed the routing in the second main quest. In earlier runs you first helped Jada, then Duke and then Lucas, while making some friends along the way. The new route was basically the old route but reversed. You first go to Lucas, then to Duke and then to Jada, making the same friends as earlier, except Virai, who has switched with Rebecca because she's way faster. This route saved some time, and the day after, Bytes got on a run. He was 10 seconds ahead of his record going into the ending flashback, and it was looking like he was going to shatter the 16-minute barrier. A 15:54, the first ever sub-16. Comparing this against his 17:53, he saved minutes just because of better movement. It was very clean, and nobody else except Glint even had a sub-17. But Bytes was not done yet. he got an unrecorded 15:51, and then just 8 hours later he got on another run. Going into the third main quest, he was 2 seconds ahead. If he got a pretty good third main quest, he could beat his record. But it wasn't just pretty good. He did it 13 seconds faster than in his record. He was now 15 seconds ahead and just needed to not make a big mistake. He ended it relatively clean, and he beat his own record for the 9th time in a row, getting a crazy 15:37. He used the bubblegum a lot, using it as a triple jump when he was climbing something, and also using it to keep momentum after field sliding. This run was just too much to beat. It stood for days and no one even got a sub 16. But after a few days the timing changed, and the ending time was now around a minute and 20 seconds earlier, so Bytes' time changed to a 14:22. Arrow, a moderator on Speedrunners.com, was doing attempts to beat the record, and 9 days after Bytes' record, he absolutely locked in. He got 5 PBs in just 4 hours, going from a 14:43 to a 14:23, just 1 second away from the record. But he wasn't done just yet. The time was a 14:13, a record by 9 seconds. This run was really clean. Bytes' runner was beaten, and Arrow was here to stay. After a few days it was New Year, and the Gator game had already been out for a few weeks. Going into 2023, Bytes wanted the record again, and a few days later he got a 14:12, a world record by a second. 20 hours after his 14:12, he got on another run. He golded the third main quest again, this time by 12 seconds. If he kept his composure, he could maybe get the unthinkable sub 14. His last split was clean, and the time was a 13:59. The first ever sub 14 by a second. This run was absolutely crazy. It stood for more than a month, before Arrow randomly dropped a 13:55. Between Bytes' record and Arrow's new one, there was an update with an in-game timer. The only thing that changed in timing was that the loading times were removed, and there is only one load in the game, that cost about a second in Bytes' run. But someone finally beat the record and got the second sub 14. The run stood for a month, and then someone new started getting personal bests like crazy. In a few days he lowered his time from a 14:24 to a 14:01, which was third in the world and just 6 seconds away from the record. But who was he? Well, his name was Terrier, and he was good. But this was not the world record. There was a glitch. Let me explain. To befriend Zoo, you have to skip a rock 3 times and then talk to him. But if you befriended him in the run before, you didn't need to skip a rock, and you could just talk to him twice to befriend him. This glitch was considered New Game Plus, because you got something before the run, and therefore the 13:54 probably wouldn't be verified. But Terrier didn't submit it. He actually tied Arrow to the second in just half an hour of attempts, and 2 days later he got a 13:54 without the Zoo glitch, which was actually a few tenths of a second faster than his 13:54 with the glitch. He continued to lower it, getting a 13:51 and a 13:45 in the next few days. Then for 20 days there weren't any records. But Whites was going to show off Gator game on Summer Games Done Quick. What time would he get? Well, he set a new PB that was just 2 seconds off the record, a 13:47.
Bytes, please. No, Bytes! That is 2 seconds off world record. That is 2 seconds off world record. Bytes literally was 2 seconds off world record.
Would he get the record again? Or would Terrier keep it? One thing is certain. Both players wanted the record to be perfect. Terrier instantly started attempts, and 5 days later got a 13:44, a world record by just a second. But it wasn't just Terrier and Bytes. Soundsleep also joined the sub 14 club with a 13:55, tying Arrow's old record. The thing about this run is that it lost 7 whole seconds by falling down while going to the third main quest. If he didn't fall, it would have been a 13:48. And then, a week later, Bytes got a 13:45, just a second off the record. Bytes used a glitch called shield flying. Shield flying lets you hover through the air by resetting your shield's cooldown mid-jump. This is pretty hard to do, but it is useful at some points in the run, and Bytes used it to its fullest potential. It was really heartbreaking being just a second away from the record, but Bytes continued the runs, and after another hour he got a 13:42, which was a record by 2 seconds. But Terrier wanted this, and started attempts as well, and an hour later he got his record back. The run was very clean, and the final time was a 13:36. While Terrier was done for the day, Bytes continued, and tied Terrier's run to the second with a 13:36 of his own later in the day. But he wanted the untied world record, and just an hour later he got on a run that was everything he wanted. He was on pace for a 13:29, going into the final section. He was really nervous and messed up the rhythm for a single shield fly, losing 2 seconds. A 13:31 was still really good, but it was bittersweet as he could have gotten the first sub 13:30. Getting the right shield fly rhythm is really hard when you're so nervous your hands are literally shaking on your keyboard. A few days later, Terrier got a 13:34, but it wasn't the record. And then, 2 weeks after Bytes' 13:31, Terrier set a 13:29, then a 13:27, and then a 13:25. Terrier seemed like the true champion of the Gator game. His runs were really clean, and he could get a sub 14 pretty consistently. But just when he felt comfortable, someone uploaded a run. And it wasn't just an ordinary run. It wasn't even an ordinary record. It was a 13:10. Demolishing the record by 15 seconds. 15 seconds doesn't sound like a lot, but saving 15 seconds on such an optimized run is crazy. His name was Medieval Man, and he was just better. Days turned into weeks, turned into months, and suddenly it was New Year again, with no one being close to the record. Terrier tried to get the record back with a few new strategies. In the third main quest of the speedrun, you have to shoot a lot of things for a guy named Andromeda. At the end of his quest, you have to shoot down the balloon the mothership is hanging from, so a cutscene plays where the ship falls, and that's the end of his quest. After the quest, the world record menu is to switch back to the bubblegum and the shuriken, which are the preferred toys. But you can open the menu just before the last bullet hits the balloon, and menu during the cutscene, saving you menuing time. And there was also a new strategy with the bubblegum, making it even better, where you can do mid-air jumps that take a very small amount of stamina. Even with these new strategies, no one has gotten a better time, and the 13:10 has stood for more than a year now, and this is how the leaderboards look. In first place is Medieval Man with his golden 13:10. In second is Terrier with a close 13:12, and in third is Bytes with his 13:31. Only 8 people in the world have ever gotten a sub 14 at this time, and one of them is me, with a 13:57 I got on the 28th of December 2024. That's why I feel like I can do this game justice. I know a lot about the game and the speedrun. I have more than 250 hours in this game, and I have even discovered some glitches myself that aren't currently used in runs. But of course, the 13:10 won't stand forever. No matter how long it takes, someone will beat it. It's just a matter of time. While making this video, Megawobble Games announced Gator Game in the Dark, a Gator Game DLC that takes place after you beat the main game. There isn't a current release date yet, but if you want to see your world record progression for the main game plus the DLC in a few years, please like, comment and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the video and have a nice day.